have a moment so perfectly timed that it felt like the universe was winking at you? You know what I mean? Maybe you thought of an old friend and bam, they texted you right out of nowhere. Or a song with lyrics that exactly match your situation comes on the radio at just the right moment. Is that a coincidence or something more? Welcome to Fantasia, where today we will dive into the strange and meaningful and the moments that make you stop and ask, wait, was that a sign? If you're going to live an enchanted life, you have to be able to recognize and be supported by synchronicity. Is the universe trying to send you a message? Stick around. Let's find out, what is synchronicity? Is it real? And what does it look like so you know it when you see it? And stay tuned to the end, because I'm going to share some signs that you are experiencing synchronicity, just to make sure that what you think you're getting is the real thing. Now, it's early morning. I'm driving into the sun, which is painting the sky this awesome golden color. And it's such an incredible sight that I'm really not paying attention to anything else. And then suddenly, a red-tailed hawk swoops right in front of me on the windshield. And I mean, this thing is huge. It's eye level with me. And, when does that ever happen? So if you aren't paying attention, you might think, wow, what a cool thing that bird just did. But could it have been a moment of synchronicity? In this case, it definitely is, because right after that, I got a call from someone asking me if I knew of a Native American speaker for an event that they were hosting and guessed who was the perfect fit for that spot. You know it. It's a friend, a Native American friend of mine whose name is Hawk. So you can't make this stuff up. So what is synchronicity? Well, the concept was first talked about by famed psychologist Carl Jung. It sounds like something Jung would stumble upon, right? The word describes meaningful coincidences that defy logic but feel deeply connected and personal. They're meaningful patterns. It's like something somewhere reached across the veil of time to slap you upside the head and give you a message. Sometimes synchronicities are subtle and we can miss them, but quite often they're pretty obvious and stand out from the ordinary reality. They beg us to pay attention. Most of us have had the experience of thinking about someone and then suddenly they text. Or maybe there is an answer that you desperately need, like, who do I talk to about this? Or where do I go? Or what do I do? And the answer pops up in the next song that you hear, or in a TV show dialogue. Lots of people pay attention to numbers like 1111, or they throw a book open to see what page it falls on and see what messages are there. I've often gone to a bookstore or library and browsed around to see what jumped out at me. And I don't mean that I'm shopping or looking to see what catchy titles are out there. I'm waiting for something to choose me. Now, it might be a book that falls down when I walk by, or a book that is sticking out of the shelf and it's not perfectly aligned with the rest, or a book that is completely in the wrong section. There'll be something about it that's different and it just pops out and I'll just know. A lot of people have stories about people who have passed on and they see it as a sign that that person is saying hello. So I have a friend who, when she hears wind chimes, she feels like it's her son saying hello. I know someone else, for them it's a scent. When she smells a specific perfume, she knows her grandmother's nearby. For another friend whose mother has crossed over, it's a certain color of red that her mother wore for lipstick. When she sees that color of red, for her, it means that her mother is telling her to slow down and be careful. So these things are personal. They're relational. So my symbols are going to be different than yours. And paying attention to synchronicity is a way to grow with guidance from our intuition or something bigger and outside of ourselves. They help us to feel that we're in the flow of life, that we belong, and that something is looking out for us. And something that I don't hear people talking about when it comes to synchronicity is that of their pattern interrupts. This is a phrase we say in the hypnosis world. We consciously create these to get people unstuck. If someone wants to stop smoking or to lose weight, they need to interrupt the pattern that says it's time to smoke, or maintain the behavior patterns that sustain your weight. And once that pattern is interrupted, we can now create a new program that creates the change that you want. So in the case of synchronicity, if I want to go to Peru, but I have no idea how I'm going to get there, I don't have the time or the money, and then suddenly my job says they want to send me on special assignment to Machu Picchu, that's a pattern interrupt. I'm suddenly on a new trajectory, and I have to consciously choose that path to stay in that energy flow. That's important. So let me say it again. If I want the opportunity, the synchronicity is presenting, I have to use my power to follow through. It's not going to just fall into my lap. If I see a white feather and that represents my dead grandmother and I don't engage with it, it's just a nice thing that happened. If I do something with it, now it's a doorway of opportunity. Get it? So there's a big buyout offer happening with the federal government and jobs. And I'm not sure if it's everyone or just some people were offered the opportunity to quit by February 6th and be paid through September. So imagine that this was you and you have no idea what to do. Do I stay or do I go? What will happen if I stay? Will I be fired anyway? What will happen if I go? Will I be able to find another job in the government or the private sector? Is this my chance to pivot and do something else? So much uncertainty, right? Well, now imagine if this was going on in your life and you started seeing the word leap or the phrase get out everywhere. It's on the side of the bus. It's in a conversation or in a book cover on a coworker's desk. Do you think you might feel a little more comfortable and confident in the decision to leave? I would. I would feel like it's a positive sign. Synchronicities often nudge us towards the right path if we're willing to listen. And I don't know about you, but when I'm all in my head about something and I really have no clear answer because my ego is just too invested in what I'm doing, I need these nudges to get me unstuck. I trust these prompts from the universe because knowledge isn't just what you can research. Intuition is a feminine way of knowing that is absolutely as real as facts and data. Now, most of us miss synchronicities because we're too distracted. Me too. I know. My dreams are the way that spirit speaks to me, and I don't dream very often, probably because I don't pay attention to them. I always say I'm going to write them down, and I usually do, but I don't tend to go back and look at them again. And this is a big no-no. You have to pay attention. If you are scrolling on your phone, searching for a vet for your sick dog, and there's this big plane overhead with aerial advertising, you know, those ones with the big things that what do you call those, flags or something that they fly behind them? And that guy's advertising for a vet, you're going to miss it. It's right in front of your face, but you're going to miss it. So mindfulness is important in all aspects of life. And while I'm talking about mindfulness, I want to throw in that practicing meditation also helps. By meditation, I mean any practice where you quiet your mind, stop your chattering inner talk, and tune into your body or the space around you. This is training your brain to pay attention and to not be distracted. If you're trying to land a plane at the airport with one plane, it's going to be a whole lot easier than trying to land with 100 planes in the air. If you can quiet your mind so that you can hold one thought at a time, that one thought is coming from spirit. It's going to have so much easier time of getting through to you than if it has to manage getting through 100 other thoughts. See what I'm saying? So another thing you can do is to keep a synchronicity journal. Write down anything that seems remotely like a synchronicity, and you will start to learn what is real and maybe what is wishful thinking. Maybe you start to see patterns emerge. Imagine that your entry over a week has 4 things about clouds, and then you know to pay more attention to clouds. You need to zoom into that. You won't see it if you aren't keeping track. Another suggestion for developing the ability to see synchronicity is to practice. Let's say you ride the train to work each day. Make a game out of noticing differences and coincidences as you go to and from work. Notice how many women with red umbrellas that you see, or how many people have the same lunchbox. If the word pirate jumps out at you, for example, notice if you hear it again. I don't know if this is true, but I believe it is. We teach our unconscious how to communicate with us. If you pay attention to numbers, it's going to give you signs and numbers. If it's names, it'll give you names. Whatever it is, be consistent. Be open to it appearing in any way, but look for it in the way that typically appears. And trust your intuition. If something feels like a sign, it probably is. I know a few people who think everything is a sign, and for them, maybe it is. I think some people have a lot of intuitive help and some not so much. Not sure why that is, but that seems to be the case. So just because it may seem outlandish doesn't mean it is. This is one of the hallmarks of living a magical life. You entertain possibilities until something becomes clear and you choose a path forward. When I was a young adult, I had a roommate who was contemplating moving to California to get into show business. She kept seeing or hearing Los Angeles everywhere, and she took it as a sign to go. Now, when I'm talking about following your hunches, I want to be perfectly clear that this doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to end up fabulously wealthy or happy. In the case of my friend, she did move to Los Angeles. She didn't get into show business. She tried, but she found out that it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. But she did gain independence from her mother. She grew up a lot and was able to become her own person. She realized that her desire to be in show business was a need to be seen and admired. And once that was clear, she didn't want or need it anymore. So I don't want to give anybody the impression that paying attention to synchronicities is going to lead to Prince Charming or your dream job. It might, but it also might just lead you away from danger or towards an experience that you most need to grow. And don't forget the Zen story, maybe. I think I've shared it here before, but it goes something like this. Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. When his neighbors heard, they said, "Oh, such bad luck." The farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back with 7 wild horses. The neighbors are in awe, and they said, "Oh, such good luck." The farmer once again simply said, "Maybe." Then the farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses and was thrown off, and he broke his leg. The nosy neighbors always had something to say and said, "Oh, that's too bad." The farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, some soldiers came by looking for conscripts for the army. They passed the son by because he clearly wasn't fit for service with that broken leg. So we never know if something is beneficial or not until some time has passed. We might think that we have met the love of our lives, and then 5 years into the relationship, we realize that this is the hardest thing we've ever done and wish we never laid eyes on this person. But like my friend, the relationship grows you into someone who is stronger, more compassionate, more capable than you ever would have been without the relationship. So if you're keeping that journal, be sure to revisit the earlier entries so that you can give updates on how things are going. If you've gotten this far and thinks, "This sounds cool, but I don't have the slightest idea what I'm looking for," I'll give you some hints. I'm not saying this will happen. I'm saying this might happen for you. I already mentioned numbers. This is oftentimes like 1111, but it could also be numbers on the license plate or house numbers. Typically, the numbers will already have a meaning for you, like it's your birthday or the day that something significant happened. So your mom's birthday or house number could be a code for something related to her. Got it? Golden opportunities are when you hear about something that is perfect for you, like you love this particular neighborhood, and while you're driving by, looking at houses, you see someone put up a for sale sign in a yard that would be perfect for you. Or you're scrolling through social media and see this post for a medical treatment for a condition you don't even know that you have yet. And the post alerts you that you have something going on that wasn't even on your radar. So things that repeat are a big knock on the head. If I'm interested in seeing a movie and then I hear you talking about it and then I hear the trailer playing on the radio, it's probably a prompt that this movie will be significant to my life in some way. Maybe the story will resonate with me, around something that I'm going through. Or maybe I'll meet someone in the theater that I need to know. Who knows? But I need to see that movie. Seeing an animal that has special meaning for you is another big one. I have heard lots of people say that specific animals have a meaning for them. One person I know says wolves are a spiritual message for him. Cardinals, snakes, could be anything really, owls. If it has a meaning for you, seeing it again is a sign. Symbols are another one. Examples of symbols are Christian crosses, the peace sign. A heart is a symbol for love. A dove is a symbol for peace. Butterflies are a symbol of transformation. A skull and crossbones is a symbol for poison or pirates. And this leads me to a sidebar. Reality, or at least the other reality, isn't logical or linear. It's metaphorical and symbolic. And the more you know about myth, legend, symbols, poetry, fairy tales, the more in tune you will be with symbols. We all have so many, and yet we're oblivious to them. I just finished reading the book, The Neverending Story, and I had seen the movie before, both parts 1 and 2, but this is the first time reading the book. And it's so full of symbols that it's many books in one. It's telling so many stories at the same time. There's the superficial story, but there are also stories within stories because of all the metaphors. It reads like 1001 Nights with Scheherazade, starting a new tale before the other one ends. I highly recommend getting to know your fairy tales and mythology. It will enhance your connection to the natural and spiritual worlds immensely, and it'll make it so much easier to see synchronicity and understand what it's trying to tell you. If you get 3 snakes in a row and your logical mind is telling you that it's danger or it's the devil, you're going to miss out on what could really be a dynamic experience of transformation because snakes shed their skin. They are symbols of transformation. They're also creatures of the underworld. They symbolize life, death, and resurrection. The caduceus is a symbol of medicine. And this makes sense because the venom could take life or it can be healing. So spend time getting to know your folklore. You'll learn a lot about the world that may not be obvious to you. Or maybe you have a superficial idea about things that can go deeper.
Love the vibe? Join the tribe. It's free, and the link is in the show notes. See you there.
Another clue that an event is synchronicity is timing. If something happens just as it needs to happen, it's probably synchronistic. For example, if you hit the lottery for $500 and your best friend has an emergency that will cost $500 to take care of and she doesn't have it, I'd take that as a sign that this money belongs to her. It might have come through me, but it's meant for her. I mean, how wild is that? Or it could be something negative. If I'm expected to get engaged to someone and the day before he finds out that he has a child that he's never known about and the mother of that child has a serious illness, I might reconsider my future plans, right? The timing seems significant. Another common way that synchronicity shows up is unexplained things. A lot of people don't know this, but the United States has had $2 bills for at least 100 years. Then in 1976, for the bicentennial, the government issued a special version with Thomas Jefferson on it. Well, my grandfather used to give us those when he saw us, those and silver dollars. And this never happened for real, but let's say that I woke up one day with a $2 bill or a silver dollar under my pillow, in my purse, somewhere unexpected. I would immediately think of him because that's what I associate with him. That or cigar smoke, 100%. That would be a sign for me that he's around, and it would be so weird. If I smelled cigar smoke and there was nobody smoking a cigar, that would definitely be him. If I told you, I would give you some hints that what you're noticing is synchronicity. And the first is to pay attention to your surroundings. You might notice something different, like time slows down or things feel a little distorted somehow. When it comes to intuition and magical things, this is not a logical linear path where words and intellect connect really well. So I don't know how to say that any better than that, but I think we've all been there, right? You get what I'm saying, right? Tip number 2 is to pay attention to your body. You might feel tingly, hot, flushed, like you can't breathe, or you got chills, or you feel like you might pass out. And I'm not talking about an anxiety attack. It's different than that. But when I met my ex, I knew at a glance that we were going to be together. Our eyes locked, and as impossible as it seemed, I knew we were going to spend some time together. I was at the beach on vacation, didn't live there. I was moving 10 hours away 2 weeks later, so it seemed impossible. But I knew in my guts that this guy was going to be a part of my future, and he was for a while. This is what I'm talking about. The body knows. Trust the body. Tip number 3 is also not logical. This one is about noticing the energy. It's hard to describe how energy feels, but everyone is always picking up energy and responding to energy. We call this co-regulation. Horses are really intuitive. If you're nervous around a horse, you can spook them. If you're super chill and are with someone who is more high-strung and on edge, your presence can calm them down. When it comes to synchronicity, the energy might be electric, heavy, light, or just different in some way that stands out. I think it's really important to get out of the logical mind when you're evaluating synchronicity for meaning because it's not logical. So tip number 4 is about noticing whether the memory of an event keeps circling back. It's like your unconscious mind wants you to get the message, so it keeps repeating it. If you have a fleeting thought to check the balance in your checking account, for example, and you keep brushing it aside, and then you get a notice that your account has been hacked, well, that was your intuition trying to nudge you. I'm famous for this. I'm always evaluating things in terms of how important they are, and we'll deal with the most pressing things first. So a little thought, a random thought just popping in my head, like check on your mom or don't forget to put that thing away, could have devastating consequences if I file it at the back of my list of things to do when it keeps popping up. That keep popping up thing is a big flashing banner to pay attention. If you let your logical mind override your intuition, your synchronicities won't be able to serve you. Tip number 5 is to give it a gut check. This kind of goes along with what I said about things not being logical. Let's say that I get a synchronistic prompt that seems to be telling me to cancel my flight. My conscious mind is saying, girl, you're crazy. You waited all this time to have this vacation. You're going to lose so much money. You didn't get trip insurance. This is silly. Just get your butt on the plane. That is not desirable information. It's not convenience. And if you don't override it, you could be asking for trouble. Did you guys remember the video that went viral of Tiffany Gomez, who was on the flight saying she wanted off? The plane was on the tarmac. The doors were closed. They're getting ready to take off. And she stood up in a panic saying, let me off this plane. I'm sure that like most of us, her social conditioning was saying, sit down, don't make a scene, it'll be all right. But whatever she saw or felt was saying, nope, gotta go. And she advocated for herself until she got off the plane. So don't be afraid of looking like a fool. Logic and playing by the rules are great, but a magical life is a blend of logic and whimsy. It's more balanced. And sometimes the things we do don't make sense, not even to us. But we do them anyways because that's what we feel led or called to do. So tip 6 is about talking about it. When we share our synchronistic moments with others who validate us, it encourages us to pay attention. The more attention that we pay to it, the more of them that we notice. And if you don't have a supportive group like this, come and join my free community. Everyone here is open-minded and supportive, so this could kickstart your journey into having a relationship with synchronicity. Tip 7 is don't chase it or look for it. Synchronicity happens when we are mentally relaxed and opened. Well, it may happen at any time, but we receive it when we are relaxed and open. So don't analyze it. Don't try to figure it out. Don't make a mental exercise out of it. It's not mental. It's a totally different energy. So let it be what it is, and it'll happen easily and naturally. So if you've gotten this far and you're still on the fence about the whole idea of synchronicity because you're wondering if it's real, let's look at what's going on. I've already talked about one possible explanation. Synchronicity could be due to spirit talking to you. Your spirit helpers are guiding you. They want the best for you and are helping you to stay conscious of your best opportunities. Another explanation that I talked about is intuition. Maybe there is no spirit realm. Maybe it's all you and your unconscious mind highlighting things. Or maybe it's both your inner awareness and spirit. The brain is picking up loads of information all the time that conscious mind isn't registering because the brain can only hold a few bits of information at a time. So the brain has to prioritize. This is how I explain why the brain can pick up signs of danger and make the hair on your arm stand up when everything appears to be exactly the same to your eyes. You're picking up more data, you just aren't aware of what it is. Another explanation for synchronicity is quantum entanglement. And this is the idea that everything is connected. There's a unified whole, and all particles can communicate with each other simultaneously regardless of distance. So let me give you an example to see if I can make this make sense. Let's say that I am on a long, hard hike and I'm worn out. It's gray, cold, dreary, and I'm about to give up when I spy a tiny blue butterfly, and this instantly perks up my heart. I see it as a sign of rebirth, hope, and all good things. So I find the spring in my step and bounce to the end of the hike. Now, I get to my destination and I'm overrun with enthusiasm, and I'm sharing my story with some hikers, and this leads to a conversation that turned into an opportunity that drastically changes my life. Now, did it happen because it was meant to happen? Or did it get put into motion because of my beliefs and expectations? Kind of freaky, right? We don't know, but this is how synchronicity works. So work with it. Make it your friend. Be a conscious creator of your life and dance with everything that you come into contact with that can help you to grow and allow your life to be a vehicle for your soul to shine. If you notice synchronicities and begin to honor them in your choices, you will notice that you worry less because you'll feel like you're in a connected partnership with life and you're never alone. You may also notice that your life begins to feel more meaningful. Things don't happen randomly. They happen to give you opportunities to blossom and things whose time has come, or to begin again and to express ultimate joy. Life is no longer something to figure out or endure. It's a miraculous experiment when you are a co-creator. Rumi said, "What you seek is seeking you," and I believe that synchronicity is evidence of that. If you honor synchronicities, you may even experience accelerated spiritual and personal growth. It's like you're working with your whole brain and not trying to strong-arm yourself through life, so the mysteries of the natural world and the other world are far more accessible. So next time you notice that you're in the right place at the right time, receiving the right information, take it as an invitation from the universe to co-create an RSVP with a yes. What's the most powerful synchronistic event you've experienced? Drop it in the comments. I love to read your stories. And if you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe, and check out the Fantasia Podcast for more deep dives into how to remodel your life and make it an enchanted one. Thanks for being here. Ciao.
Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or Spotify so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, why not show your love with a review? Thanks. See you next week.